This is the Pam Sowder Podcast. With over 2 decades of field and corporate experience and voted one of the most influential women in direct selling, Pam helps mesh the daily needs of distributors to everyday life challenges. It's time to get over yourself, fire up your productivity, work less, and live more. Learn the self-limiting hashtag F-bombs holding you back, fear, frustration, and failures, and turn those F-bombs into friendships, fun, and freedom. Ready? Let's get this party started.
I don't think we should drag it on because I want to let her do her thing, but you guys know.
You guys, come on, get on your feet. Welcome Mom up to the stage.
Mama
Here
Duck.
is your queen, Pam Sowder. Woo, 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 woo!
Wow, I love this room. We've had a dash. Y'all know Dash to the Destination? We've had dashes in here. So this facility is just stunning. It just makes you want to dream bigger, doesn't it? Who was baptized this morning? I want to give you a hug. Yay! I know who you are. All I could see was like the side and the back of you. So congratulations. Wow. You never know what a rap will do. Kaye wanted me to just talk a little bit about my story and how it works. The foundation got started, and then where we're headed. We've had surf and turf this weekend, and we're having it. We're in the midst of it right now. We started yesterday, and we met at Mark's Ranch, and they were so excited to open up their home for everyone. And I've done that for a lot of you as well. And it's just kind of our gives back to each and every one of you. And we started out on the swamp buggy. You know what that is? It's a big buggy. Huge, that you have to climb up into, and then you can go out into the swamps. And we saw all of his longhorn, his cows, and I didn't know there were different kinds of cows, and I didn't know that some cows attract flies and some cows don't attract flies. And then they're all different colors, and they moo really loud. I mean, their moos are loud. So we get to, we feed the longhorns, and we go up and we start throwing food out to all these cows. Well, here they come. They come running. It's free food, right? Just these little Purina nuggets. And then we notice, I said, well, why aren't those cows coming? And there's some just in the background, just standing there staring at us. And here is all this free food. And these cows just don't come running. They're just too lazy, I guess. Or they're thinking maybe there's food, maybe there's not food. I have never ventured up to that fence to find out. And we started thinking about that analogy with some of the people that we talk to. We offer them products to sample, don't we? Like a wrap to try for as little as $25, or a sample of keto coffee. Who's in love with keto coffee right now? Yeah. I've had mine, and now a cup of coffee. Watch out. But I think about those cows that were in the background. I said, why don't they come up, Mark? He goes, I never thought about it. But they're skeptical cows. I had no idea that even cows have that kind of consciousness. But I assume that they do, or maybe that's just my imagination. I don't know. But a lot of them came up. But just as many stayed back and just kept staring in place, looking at us like we were crazy. And I'm thinking, that's my life in this business. I still have people today that know what we've accomplished, know what we have to offer, and are still standing there staring. Do y'all have people like that? Yeah. Eventually, I hope that they come up and try something. But that's really not our job, is it? To try to convince them. And I think that a lot of times we try to convince people that they would be right for this, when it's much more fun for us just to throw out whatever we have in such a fun, jovial way, and then those that want to come will come up and join us. So I guess they're just fence sitters. I don't know. But one of the biggest things that I've learned in this business is not to take myself too seriously, to take my business seriously, but not to take myself too seriously. Who goes to bed at night and wakes up just dreaming about this? Who does that still? So what's everybody else doing? Just not dreaming? Or who's lost their dream? Kind of lost their passion. Anybody want to admit that? You're going to get some of Howard today. He's going to help bring that back. You know, when I think about going to bed at night after almost 17 years of this and getting up, it's probably the last thing that I think about. I'm praying over all of you, my family, what the day unfolded. And then I get up the next day. It's pretty much the first thing on my mind when I get up is, how is this day going to be? How is this day going to unfold? And when I tell my story of this industry and finding it, or how it found me, it's really based off my children and just wanting something different for our family. See, I was not raised to do this in my thoughts. I mean, I thought I was going to be a teacher all my life. I mean, from the time I was a very small little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. That's all I could think about. I would bring the neighborhood kids in, and unfortunately, my brother suffered through this a lot because he's younger. And I had a chalkboard set up, one of those big ones, and little chairs, and I would bring them in and I would teach them school, even in the summer. And I don't know why they would come, but they would come and they would sit there and I would teach them. And then we'd go out and play. And so I ended up with a degree in business education for 11th and 12th graders, and I had no idea how hard that was going to be because they just don't listen, do they? 11th and 12th graders. So during my student teaching second day in, I realized I needed to grow up a little bit. I needed to get a little bit older than them because when you think about some of them are 18, 19 years old, and I'm 22. That's not a big difference in age. So I realized I need to grow up a little bit, maybe needed to do something else for a while, mature, get my confidence up. So I ended up selling IBM computers in the 80s when they first came out. And I'm telling you, it was a blast. I had so much fun. I gained confidence through that. I gained the ability on how to, talk to people, how to share my passion for computers with them. I learned that the gatekeeper was the secretary and how to make friends with her. Where I was the only female in that collective group of salespeople, and I became the number one seller. Because I would befriend that woman that was sitting up front who would end up being the one that actually used the computer system, and all the men would just blow past them and go right to the decision maker, which they didn't realize was her. And a lot of times we blow past people thinking maybe they're not the ones, prejudging them when they really are. We look at them from our viewpoint, our perspective. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And when I first heard about this industry, my next door neighbor, Larry, was already a part of that company that I ended up joining. And because he prejudged Dave and I, they won't be interested. Their life seems fine. She's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't need to work. He didn't know that behind our doors, we were suffering. We needed extra money. We were thinking about the future and that our children would want to go to school, hopefully beyond 12th grade, that one day they would be driving and need car insurance. And look at health insurance today. All these things that are going on. And so he prejudged us and didn't ask. And because of that, he made a $10,000 a month error in judgment. Because when I joined that company, that's what my sponsor told me he earned from my efforts. So think about that when you go out into the marketplace and you pass by someone and they're waiting tables, because I waited tables. Anybody else wait tables? Waited tables all through school. Loved it because it paid the most money, right? Yeah. So you've got that waitress, the waiter. You've got that stay-at-home mom that looks like she's got everything going on. But behind that, there's money that's needing to be made. There's lives that need to be changed. And so I hope that we go out understanding that. So here I come out, start selling computers. Dave starts saying, you need to get a job. Once I quit that and became that stay-at-home mom, Kaye was 7 at the time and Adam was 10. And he kept saying, we need extra money, we need extra money. And I kept looking and looking for something part-time, spare time to do, because I wanted to be that mom that still put the kids on the bus, still got the kids off the bus, and in between could take care of the house, but make some extra money, and I wanted to make a lot. That was a big list, wasn't it? A big list. There wasn't a whole lot out there that could fulfill that list or that day. But I kept looking, and through one of Dave's great customers, he was in the construction industry, we stumbled into this industry of network marketing. And I had never heard of the industry. I knew Mary Kay was out there. I remember my mom buying Avon. I remember your mom's buying Avon. Tupperware. But I didn't know what that was. I just thought, well, that was a woman that had a catalog. That's what I thought. I never knew about it. I had never been approached by anyone from Amway or even Mary Kay. The first time I was ever approached about the industry was Dave's customer told me about a long-distance company that you could be a part of and earn unlimited income working spare time or part-time. That's the first I heard of it, and I was totally not believing a word he said. Anybody else feel like that? Skeptical. So here I was looking for an opportunity, but I was just not going there because I didn't understand what he was telling me until he kept asking me to attend a meeting. And eventually I went only because he was a customer of Dave's and one of his best customers, if not his very best customer. So out of that is the only reason I went. So I went to the meeting with Dave. They got to the page on residual income. I sat through an opportunity meeting. I sat through it. How many people do you say that you ask, but you've never sat down and actually shown them the opportunity? How many? Probably dozens and dozens. See, we ask, but until they actually get that full-blown presentation, the party pad or the catalog, we have not truly asked. He'd still be asking today if I had not gone and sat down and listened to it from start to finish, because throughout that presentation was a story, and that story started to click with me on what I was looking for. And so I sat through it. They got to the page of residual income, and I understood that because of my background with IBM. See, I would sell a computer, that was it. You got the money, it's off to sell the next one, right? Anybody been in sales? It's usually a one-time deal. You sell something. Most network marketing companies are like that. There's not a whole, Shelley was a part of one, where there's not a whole lot of residual income. We truly, and I'll get into the comp plan some, don't understand the blessings that we have with That Works, with the residual side of this, the generationals, the leadership bonuses. Very important to understand what you have your hands on. I always wanted to sell the service contracts that were attached to each computer, but they wouldn't give us that opportunity. So when I saw the page on residual income, something clicked with me. You mean I can make a one-time sale? And that if that person continues to purchase over and over again, I can earn a few pennies from that? And then if I have some other people that would be interested in that I could earn a few pennies from that, and that could build over time like compound interest? I mean, shoot, yeah, I'll listen to this some more. I'll see if this is real. So the next day, after not sleeping at all that night, hearing it, finally listening, I went to the library, because this is 1994, and this is before Google and Yahoo. And we actually walked into a library, had a card and everything, a library card. They're free. And I checked out a couple books on the industry, and I realized this is a real industry. This is a true industry. There are companies that make billions of dollars annually in this industry, still to this day, that have been in business for over 50 years, 60 years. And we are actually new in this industry. We're considered a baby in this industry. It Works Global is. When we go to our top 100, like you're in this room now, when we go to that and we get honored, we're one of the youngest companies to get honored for our growth. I wish you could all go to that and see. You would be so proud of what you've done to help us continue the story of the wrap and the products that we have and the opportunity that we have. So I listen. I do some due diligence. I join in September of that year when the kids go back to school, and out of total fear and chaos in my mind, my ego took over and started telling me stories of, you can't do this. This is going to be hard. Nobody's going to listen to you. What if you can't answer a question? What are people going to think? They're going to think you joined this? That's not cool. You're going to ask your friends. This is one of the things that I've had to work on, is asking people to help me. I am a very fiercely independent woman. Anybody else like that? Fiercely independent. And it's hard for me to say, hey, can you do me a favor? Hey, would you mind taking a look at this? Would you mind being my customer? Hey, would you be interested in an opportunity? Those words I couldn't form them. I couldn't get them out. I had a hard time asking. I had such a hard time asking, I didn't ask for 6 months. No one, not one person, did I ask to take a look at the opportunity or become a customer for 6 entire months. My sponsor should have written me off, but he didn't. He kept calling. He says, Pam, you're so outgoing. You're such an influencer. You're so connected to so many people. You and Dave know everybody. People want to be your friend. I mean, they are your friends. You walk into a room, you don't walk out not knowing everybody. What's going on? I said, I don't know. I'm just in a state of what? Nothingness here. I have nothing to tell you. I didn't even know that I could say the word fear, really. I just didn't know how to start. I just didn't know how to get that first question out. I was so scared, just scared. And then I went to a meeting. The top money earner was there. I was highly encouraged to grow. I drove 2 hours. I sat in the back of the room. I listened to his story. He was much more Southern than me. He was exactly my age. He was a former teacher, and he had started years before. But guess what he did? He started asking right away. He asked 100 of his peers at that school that he taught at, would you be a customer? Would you be a distributor? And all of them said, nope, not interested. But he kept going, and he kept going, and he kept going. And then eventually he left his teaching job. Eventually, the superintendent of schools signed up as a distributor. So did the principal. So did most of the teachers. And at the time that I met him, he was making a double-digit 6-figure monthly income. And I'm like, turned on. I am listening to this. I'm starting to think, this is me. This is possible, that I could do this. He just told his story over and over again. Most people said no. Some said yes, and he just kept going. He, even in the beginning of the years, he didn't have any money to stay overnight in a hotel. If he drove somewhere, he spent the night in his car. He did whatever it took. They were building a home, and he had money to put the deck on the back of his house, and he took that money and he joined that company, and his wife hardly ever forgave him because she said, if we open the door, we'll just fall out. There's no deck back here. And eventually he built the deck, and he eventually had a home here on Longboat Key. Yes, because he kept going. He didn't care what people said, because he knew that he had a dream and a vision and a desire to change his family's life forever. He caught the vision so quickly. See, my vision expanded that night. My vision got beyond me. My vision went back to Dave saying, Pam, we need some extra money in the house. We need some extra money in the house. Are you going to go get a job? And I started thinking, I'm going to have to get out and go 8 to 5, leave my kids, leave early before they leave, get home late. I'll never see them. Now, some of you love to do that, and that's all right. If you want to leave your kids and go to work, I appreciate that. We need that too, don't we? People that do that, enjoy that. That's okay. For me, it's not what I wanted. I left that meeting that night because when I went up and talked to him and I started word vomiting on him about all the reasons why I couldn't do it or I hadn't started. Have you ever done that to yourself? Talked yourself out of the blitz, talk yourself out of going to that wrap party, talk yourself out of asking someone. Well, I was up there giving him all the reasons why I hadn't started, and none of them were true. I don't even know where they were coming from, but I thought I needed to explain myself. He took a step back, he put his hand on his hips, and he says, you know what, Pam? You're just too prissy for this. And I'm like, what? And then I realized he meant, you think you're too good for this. And I did. I thought I was too good for it. I thought I was educated, had more going on, didn't need to ask people for help. All of those thoughts. The next morning I got up, I put on the biggest, most badass, white, thick cotton panties you could find. That self-absorbent kind, just in case you need them. That was my cape. And I went out and I started asking. And I asked and I asked and I asked, and some people I kept asking. Like my sponsor kept asking me, just go to the meeting. Just go to the meeting. I kept asking, just come to my house. I'll make cookies. I'll have iced tea. Come on. And I would make cookies and I would have iced tea. And I would invite, and I made Dave invite. You got to invite too. He would invite, I would invite. Finally, some people started coming. Some people joined because I guess they thought maybe this might be a good opportunity for them. And then guess what? Most of them quit. Most of them quit. The vast majority didn't stay in. They weren't the 1%. They were a part of the 99%. Why can't we just understand that and know that that's it? And we don't have to take classes for that? We don't have to be a psychologist? Oh, gosh, thank you. We don't have to understand all of that. What we need to understand in the beginning is why we're here. Why we're here and what do we want? What do we want personally? What did I want? I wanted to be able to put my kids on the bus leisurely. I wanted to be able to have a cup of coffee in the morning and read from an inspirational book like I Am. First time I bought I Am, I started reading it, put it on the shelf. Didn't read the rest of it. Ended up seeing it again at an airport. Bought it, didn't know I still had it at home. True story. Come home and devour it. I mean, it was read in 2 days. I wasn't ready for it the first time. They might not be ready for you the first time, or the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time. See, they might have a job that's working. They might have a spouse that loves them. They might be okay. But the third or fourth time they see you, they might not. They might be more open. Something might have just changed. And so I wanted that life. I wanted to be able to work out in the morning. I wanted to be able to work in between those hours before 3 o'clock when the kids got off the bus, and I want to be able to spend quality listening time to them. That's when they want to throw up on you all the things that happened, some of the things that didn't happen that were so great. And then after 30 minutes, they're fine. They want to go outside and play. And then you want to help them with their homework. You want to be that parent to your own children. And that's what I wanted to be. And then I wanted to bring some extra money in the house. But I also wanted to have fun. I didn't want the stress of meeting quotas. I didn't want a boss telling me, you got to come in, I don't care if your kid's sick. I didn't want to go back to that. I had that. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it at all, actually. I wanted to be fiercely independent, and I wanted to make unlimited money. That sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? When you think about it. That's what you have. Each and every one of you have that. You have that right now in the palm of your hand. Every one of you can get up and have the day that you were meant to have. Every single one of you. You just have to understand a few things. And you're going to hear those this weekend. My hope is that you don't take this as a warm bath and you go home. And as you're going home, you get the phone call that the child was sick. Your husband's not here. He doesn't understand. He didn't get it. He starts saying, well, you've been gone all weekend. Now you got the kids all week. Or you go home and you're all pumped up. You start calling people and you start getting the no's, and there's your confidence just slowly dwindling again. Or you have a team member that joins another company and that takes you out for a good 24, 48, 72, sometimes 3 months. When that's okay, isn't it? They're the 99. The hardest thing for me to understand in this industry was people join, pay money, and then I can't find them. I was not raised that way. And see, I raised our children that if we pay money and you join that sport or that activity, you're in for the year. That's a great way to teach your kids. I mean, it really is. So go practice for a while if you want. We pay money, you're in, you're committed. You are committed. First day of dance. First day for Kaye. First day. Now, I'm a mama bear, too. You do something to my child, man, I'm coming across at you. You don't want to do that. So y'all be wary. She's in the room. So here we are, first day of dance. She comes out bawling because she did not get an M&M. She did not get her M&M. Why? Because she hit her head on the bar and imploded. She imploded. And so that was disruptive. And Kaye is a very proud young woman, and that embarrassed her. So she lost it. Now, I wanted to go back in and tell that teacher, look, she hit her head, she imploded, she still should get her M&M because that was an accident. If she hadn't hit her head, none of that would happen because she's perfect, right? Don't we want to do that as moms? But I bit my tongue. She did not want to go back. And I took her back the very next class, and she danced till she was 16. We would have missed all of that. All of that if we would have let her quit, right? All of that. See, you can't quit. The lessons are too valuable. So when people would join, they would pay money, they would buy a kit, and then I couldn't find them. For a while, I lost a lot of respect for people. I thought Americans are just lazy. That's what I thought. I got bitter. I got angry. I'm like, what is wrong with everybody? I'm over here working my butt off. I want this to work. I'm willing to help you. I'm not going to give you people. I'm willing to guide you. I'm willing to share my knowledge and my skill set here with you. But I can't find you. What happened? You were all in. You told me you were going to be my number one. And I can't find you, and it's only been 48 hours. And then I started doing some personal development. I started talking to people that were there where I thought that's where I'm going. And they started telling me that's normal. And then I talked to a guy that was an Eagle Scout. You know what Eagle Scouts are? They're the 1%. He said, oh, all these boys join as Boy Scouts. 1% make it to Eagle. I said, even in Boy Scouts? And then I started thinking about sports. You know, my husband loves football. He's the 1% in football. He got a scholarship. There were 2 guys out of his entire class of 450 that got a scholarship. And he started late. He started as a freshman playing because he worked so hard on his craft and his skills and his workout. And that's who he is. And that's who I am. So why don't you decide that today? That's who you are. That's your I am. I am the 1%. And when people leave your organization or you can't find them, that you don't try to take the class on why. You just understand and allow them to move through. And the first 3,000 people that I put in to It Works Global, after all the skills that I learned in 6.5 years, and the first 3,000 people that, you know, Mark's building the infrastructure, I'm building the field, they all quit. Every single one of them. But see, by then I understood. And I also knew this, I ruined them. They allowed me to learn how to talk about the rap, how to talk about the opportunity. They showed me that we needed steps to success. They showed me that we needed a blitz card. They showed me how to train better. They showed me how to talk about the product, how to apply it. They showed me what we needed through the contrast of seeing what we didn't have through them. That's it. Do you have people that have come in and quit that you learned a lot from? Every single one of them, I would hope. I am so grateful for all of them. Every single one of them. And guess what the people that are leaving today show me? We need this in place. Or we are so good at what we do. We are awesome at this. They just didn't want that. Or they got bored, right? And if you work through that boredom and come out on the other side, oh my gosh, it's glorious. Because I've been bored, but I became boring. And I had to work on that. I became complacent. It's like, you know, you don't need another pair of shoes. Right? You really don't. You want them. But you don't need it. Mark doesn't need another island. But that doesn't mean Mark might not get one. He just might. Because he likes to play on islands. And he likes to invite you in. I could see him island hopping in his helicopter. Why not? So we're all talking last night. We're sitting around. We're dreaming. The top money earners, they're not done. They're just getting started. They're starting to realize that they are affecting and changing lives. You see, you have to get there first. This is what I understood. I had to keep going, keep learning, keep growing, keep developing, keep understanding, know who I was, know who I am, and where I'm going. And through the people that I meet, they tell me who I am. Through the people that I meet, they tell me who I am. The first 3,000 told me, you're really not sure about this, Pam. You really don't quite believe that the product works. Do y'all understand that? You're not quite sure that the opportunity is solid. You're not quite sure about yourself. See, I look at people like angels coming in telling me where I am and who I am. When someone yesterday, last night, said something to me, and I thought, I'm holding that thought within me somewhere. And I didn't thank her because she wouldn't have gotten that, right? But I'm listening and I'm paying attention and I'm observing and I'm getting it. And then when they come in and they tell you something absolutely amazing, you're like, wow, I'm there too then. So you go out and you're talking to people and you're not as confident and your business starts going in the direction you don't want it to go in. Oh my gosh, you lost rank. You lost rank. You went from double to diamond. Did It Works take your rank away? Do we still call you double? Because we still believe in you. And then you start to doubt. And you start to bring people into your business, but they're not as strong. They don't stay because your confidence is lacking. You're not up there like you thought you should be or you want to be. So how do we turn all of that around? You have to walk not as a double, but as a triple. You have to go beyond that word maintain. Who wants to maintain anything? We want to grow, right? We want to grow. We want to continue to grow and see when we get into that, I've got to rebuild. I've got to maintain. That's dragging, isn't it? That's low energy. That's not high like you were. I'm going diamond, I'm going diamond, I'm going diamond, I'm going double, I'm going double, I'm going double. We get to double and we just start to sit down. We stop doing the things that we were doing to get us there. We say we're tired. You're not tired. That was the best fun you've ever had in building a business. It was exhilarating. You just start questioning. Howard's going to get into that. Why? It's too much money. I'm a leader. That's a big word. I don't know if I can handle that. I remember we got to a certain point in the business. It was growing. It was big. I started to question my leadership. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of people, Pam. You like to know everybody's name. You like to know how many kids they have. You like to go visit. You like to drink wine with them. It's a lot of wine, Pam. If more people come in, might be a problem on the wine. Seriously. I mean, can you handle all that? Can you handle all that? That's just what my mind is telling me. Who is that anyway? I'm not sure. But I was believing it. And things started slowing down. Not moving as quickly as they were. Well, did I cause that? I don't know. I'm walking down the beach. This is in South Carolina, and I had a vision of all these people standing in the water. I mean, it was a true vision. And they were in a pyramid form. One leading out to thousands. I saw them. I saw them standing in perfect formation, waiting to come in. Waiting to come into It Works. And I'm thinking, am I losing my mind here? I'm overworked. I'm too tired. I'm too stressed out. Who are all these people? And I catch this vision. It was quick. And I realized I was holding them back by thinking that I had to be all that for them when all I needed to be was somebody that believed in herself, was having fun, enjoying the journey, and let them in. Just let them in. Let them all in. Just open the floodgates and let them in, because guess what? You can handle it. You're going to be just fine. There are going to be systems put in place. We're going to be able to handle the influx. There's going to be new leadership that'll grow up out of that water. And my whole vision changed after that, and the floodgates opened. Do you know how many people want to join your team? Thousands. Thousands of people will be affected by each one of you. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Tens of thousands. You're going to get a phone call in a year, and someone's going to say, because of you, and this has nothing to do with them being a distributor. This just happened to us. Because of you selling your home, and I sold it, my husband was able to take the proceeds of that sale and start his own company that he's been wanting to start for 20 years. Totally unrelated to our industry, but related to life. Isn't that awesome? Because of you purchasing this home and then selling this home, from those proceeds, my husband was able to start his own company. And we think it's just related to It Works. It's the marketplace we're changing. You employ someone to clean your home, and you're great at loving on them and loving the job that they're doing. You're doing them such a service as they're doing you one, right? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. So what do you want? Do you want that day to be every day? Yeah. So how do you start? Dream about that day. How do you want that day to be? And then you take a step. And you take another step and another step. One step, well, that didn't work too good. Let me go over here and try it this way. Then you do that. Don't get caught up in what the other person's doing on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and whatever else is coming along. Stay in your lane and what you're good at. If that's meeting people one-on-one, do that. If that's rap parties, do that. Because at your rap party, you're going to meet an Instagrammer. At your rap party, you're going to meet somebody that's fabulous on Facebook. Melody McFarland loves trade shows. I did not like them. I didn't care to stand on my feet for 3 solid days. But I would go with her to support her, and I had fun, and I learned how to talk to people. And we would have the most awesome experiences. We were in New York leaving to catch a flight, and everybody else was leaving at the same time, and we asked these men who were all suited up, wearing our T-shirts, can we ride with you to the airport? We get in, guess what they are? Professional event people. They come in and look at companies to help them display their products and how to talk to people. They're perfectionists at it. So I'm like, what's the number one reason people don't buy from you? Bad breath. Something as simple as that. Well, I've never forgotten that. What else? They need to come out behind the booth. They need to stand in the front of the booth. They need to be excited and passionate. Have you ever walked by a booth and people are just sitting there with their arms crossed? They won't even look at you. Hello, have you done that? Nobody's going to come into your space. There was a guy selling art. He was in his 50s. He loved his art. He loved his art. Loved it. Thought he had the best art. However, he said nobody wants to buy it. I can't sell my art for anything. I take it to trade shows. I can't sell it. Nobody wants it. Not one person will buy from me. But I love what I do. I think it's very pretty, my art. He started working with somebody who said, well, guess what? People can sense you don't feel like you can sell your art. That nobody wants it. They can sense that. So they don't come up to your booth. They want to come up. They see it. But something is like holding them back. Don't go over there. Nobody wants to buy the art. When he understood this, he stood out by the booth and thought, everybody wants to buy my art. My art is so beautiful. I sell all my art at I can't keep up with the orders. The very next trade show he does, he sells out. What changed? He did. So Can you do that every day? Yeah, everybody wants to be my customer. Kaye and I'll walk in, we won't even have a shirt on. And we're like, hope nobody asks us today because we just really want to shop. Sure enough, what do y'all do? We're like, how do they know? How do they know we do something? How do they know that we got something going on? Because it's just all over us. It's just all over us. Wherever we go, it's just everywhere. It's just all over us. That we have something for you. We have something for you. We have something you're going to love. You can be my customer. You can be my distributor. You know what? I don't want you to be my distributor. I want you to be my distributor. I love distributors. You know what? I can recruit 100 in one day. Just throw me out of an airplane. Land me in a city and I'll go in and I'll sweep it up. Oh, but you tell me everybody in your town knows about It Works. Nobody wants to be a distributor. That's not true. Let's go in. Let's start talking. Let's start sharing. Let's start being passionate. Let's start saying, hey, guess what I have? Guess what I have? Guess what I have? It's awesome. Shelly and I, we've been out. We walk around. She's like, this is wild. I said, I know. They want it. They want it, Shelly. They all want it. Remember that? When I first started doing business presentations, it was terrible. I talked about myself constantly. Have you ever done that? Like, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is how much money I'm making. This is how much money I'm going to make. I'm brilliant. I'm smart. And this is really good. And you should join. And they would walk away. Like, I don't want anything she has. She's so arrogant. But I thought that's what they needed to hear, was how great I was doing, how passionate I was, what I wanted. And then I realized they weren't listening. Their eyes would roll up in their head and they'd walk away. And I'm like, I really know what I'm doing. What am I doing wrong? And I would go through the whole business presentation, even when I could tell they'd already tapped out. They were gone. They were still sitting there, but they were waiting to the moment they could bolt. And then I just said, I'm changing everything. So I would sit down like Shelly and I did that day, and I would say, why are you here with us? Why did you drove over here and we're having, we're going to spend an hour together. What were you thinking? What were you wanting? What what's going on? And then I would ask another question and another question and another question and another question. They would try to ask me one about myself. And I'd turn, well, wait a minute, you just told me about your child. Now, what is it you want for your child? And I would never tell them anything about myself. We never had to open a business presentation book, because what I could do then is say, okay, we've got something that will help you with that, that, and that. Now, this is how we get started. You join for $99. That's step one. Now, every month you're going to requalify your business by purchasing at least $80 worth of product, because that's what we do. No question. Done. Right? You agree. Now, the next thing we're going to do within the next 72 hours, we're going to gather 4 loyal customers. That's what we do. We're going to do this together. I'm not getting them for you. I am going to teach you how to do it. We're going to get them in 72 hours. Now, the next thing we're going to do within your first 30 days, we're going to help 3 people get started. So let's start your list right now. Who comes to mind? Who comes to mind? Who comes to mind? You work on that. You work on that. Then you're going to be sitting there with them, holding their hand, 3-way calling in, do whatever it takes, and you're going to help them get 3 people within their first 30 days. And you're going to duplicate that. And you're going to duplicate that again and again and again, because we have an agreement. We have an agreement that you're joining me in this opportunity, and we're going to give it a good, solid year. A good, solid year. Are we in agreement on that? And if they would waffle on anything, you need to go home and think about it, because I'm going here. Are you going to come with me? You need to be serious. Oh, I don't want to do auto ship. Okay, that's okay. No, it's not, because you're training them how to do the business. All right, who's got a business building question? All right, so Kaye's going to help.
I sat around with the team last night and had a little huddle. Some of you were in our room, and these questions came up, and I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of an insight into what we're looking for today. I really want you to dig deep into the questions that you have, and one might be, Mom always says, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? That's her quote. And I think a good question for her is what exactly does she mean by that? I think this is the platform for us to get that answer. Another one that came up, and I'll repeat this when it's time, but what's been your lowest low? And in business, since you've been building this and been in the industry, and how did you get your confidence back? How did you work through that to get to where you are today? Because for those of you that don't realize, it's been 17 years for her that she's been building It Works Global in the trenches, just like every single one of us. And I don't even think you realize that she was in the trenches just like us, doing exactly what we do. This company got built somehow, right? Her and Mark had to dig their ditches and get in the trenches. So those are two big questions that I'd like to start with today that I think everyone can benefit from. So the first one, again, is you say how you do anything is how you do everything. So what exactly do you mean by that?
This was such a great observation for me. 5 years into this, I knew I needed some personal development. So I don't know why it took me 5 years to understand that, but I think I was just in the go mode, and I realized I needed to be fed. I needed to be uplifted. I needed some life poured back into me. So I went to this incredible school in New York, and you fly into New York and you get on a bus and they take you up in the woods, and this house looked like the house in The Shining. It was like an old hotel that was no longer a hotel, and these venues could be rented out. And I roomed with a girl from Canada that I didn't know. That was the whole thing, that you room with somebody you didn't know. There were about 250 people there. There were billionaires at this facility. There were moms. There were people in my industry, outside of my industry. And I was talking to this one guy. He was a billionaire real estate commercial real estate agent in New York. I said, oh my gosh, why are you here? He says, because I'm doing $1 billion deals and I get scared. And I'm like, wow, I think that's so fascinating. So the first day we show up, and there's 250 people there, which are 250 chairs. So an exercise was, we got to move the chairs out so we can have the middle of the floor available, because we're going to get ready to do something. And they separated us in tribes of 50. So I was in a tribe of 50 people. That's what they called them. There were 5 tribes of 50 people. And they said, so what we're going to do is I want you to get with your tribe, assign each other tasks. Like some of the people that are a little older, maybe they can't pick up as many chairs, so maybe they stack chairs, and we're going to time you. And the tribe that moves the chairs the quickest gets something. Okay, so it's competitive. And so we get together and we're like, okay, well, I'm strong, I'm fast, I run. I'll carry chairs, I'll move them to the side. And some of the older people, we said, you just stack them, we'll move them. And we're like, we're driven. We're going after this. Some people are working together collectively as a team. Some are like on their own mission to be the chair master and to move the most chairs on their own. And veins were popping, and they were screaming, and they were cussing at each other, moving these chairs. They would get frustrated if their team didn't win. Well, and then we would move all the chairs out, and then they would say, now we want you to move them back immediately. And we're like, well, that's stupid. We don't get that. We didn't like the way you moved them. So we're confused. This goes on for 5 days. Sometimes we move the chairs in and out 4 or 5 times in that day. Well, by then, you really saw who was losing it, who was still the team player, who was still stacking. Some started cowering and just going and setting off on the side. Oh, I'm exhausted from this chair moving. I'm just going to go sit down. I mean, they did right there. They just, I'm done with this. This is stupid. One guy, I'll never forget, his veins were popping in his neck. He was screaming and cussing at people in his tribe. At the very end of this whole entire experience, the gentleman that was running the training said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, some of you just go set off on the side. You just observe. You don't want to get involved. It becomes too much. Some of you stayed in team player. You did whatever it took, whatever anyone asked. You were coachable. Some of you had veins popping. You were cussing. You were aggravated, angry. Is that how you talk to your wife? Is that how you talk to your kids? And we went, oh my God. And I thought about that guy and I thought, wow, that's how he talks to his kids. That's how he probably talks to his wife. That's how he talks to the people that are in the workplace. And then I had to really observe myself. I've never lost that. And that was 11 years ago, almost 12. How you do anything is how you do everything. So think about that throughout your day. How you clean your house or you don't clean your house. How you treat your spouse, your children, your business. Do you work it every day? One of the biggest things I learned waiting tables is my manager said, you never finish anything. He said, you're full of energy. You're the best waitress I have. But you'll start folding towels, napkins, and you don't finish them. You'll start stacking silverware, and then you're off doing something else. Well, I'm like, I got called out. I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing that. I was not aware that I didn't finish a task. So how many times do we get started on doing calls, and then we go do the laundry? How many times do we start on the power hour and then we go make the bed? Or how many times are we setting down to message and we start something else completely? We get off task. That's a valuable lesson that I learned. So think about that as you go about your day. What was the other question, Kaye?
The next one is, what has been over 17 years, what has been your lowest low? And how did you bounce back from that? Because obviously you have, and obviously you've had lows. And I think some people see you as queen bee and realize, oh, she's perfect. She doesn't have lows. Nothing ever happens to her. And I know that's not true.
Yeah.
And how did you bounce back?
Well, I mean, that's ongoing, isn't it? Because when you pour into someone and you call them friends and they quit. Has that happened to anybody? Yeah. It's just, sometimes you just have to sit back and cry. You just sit back and go, wow, I thought, we were friends. I thought that we had a relationship bigger than it works. I mean, I know who you are. You've stayed at my house. But I guess that's not true. Or was I just misreading this? So money is more important to you than being my friend. Just us hanging out and working through this. That's tough. And that happens to me, and it will not end, will it? Will it continue? But isn't that life? And that happens in normal friendships too, outside of the business, doesn't it? Things change. So it's just something that I don't think I'll ever overcome it, because I'm very much of someone that pours into people, and it's just a part of life. But I realize it has nothing to do with me. If I stay authentic, and if I still, even though you're gone, I still love you, I still think about you, I still pray over you, I hope that you're doing great, it has nothing to do with me. If I did everything that I felt like should be done, or I would have done better. Howard taught me that about raising my children. He said, Pam, you're going through this with the kids, but if you could have done better at that time, you would have done better, right? Wouldn't we? That's logical. Okay, so how do I overcome that? Sometimes I go hide under the covers for 24, 48 hours. You just kind of go in there and sulk a little bit. Everybody needs that time. It's kind of like mourning, isn't it? But I don't stay there too long because there's thousands of others that I've yet to meet, that I've yet to friend, that I've yet to pour into. And that person was for that season. That was it. It's just not anything that I can't, I don't even know how to explain it, why people do what they do. But they do, don't they? So it was just valuable lessons that I've learned. But I don't take them personal anymore like I used to. And not that I've gotten thicker skin or tougher. I just start to understand that I'm okay. I did what I needed to do at that moment, and I did it the best that I could. And I don't want to hold a grudge because guess what? They don't know they're fine. I don't want to even say I forgive them. They just moved on. I just don't need to stay there, nor in that place. And there's other things all along the way. I mean, we get our feelings hurt. I've had letters written to Mark about me that I've sat and read. And I'm like, wow. But guess what? Isn't that their perspective? And so when I'm reading it, I'm like, wow, they're really messed up. I mean, sometimes that's what I'm like, whoa, they think that about themselves. Think about that. Yeah. So I ask myself, is that true about you? To me, Pam, is that true? And if I can honestly say, no, that's not true about me, then I know that that is their perspective and where they're coming from. Now, if I ask myself, is that true about you? And I answer honestly, yeah, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. And that's it. You just have honest conversations with yourself. And it's okay. I'm not perfect. I know it. I'm here to learn, to grow, to evolve. This is the best life lesson ever, is being a part of It Works Global. If you'll just take it for that and take those life lessons and not beat yourself up. I mean, the last thing we want you to do is walk out of here saying, I should have been different. We want you to walk out of here saying, I'm awesome. I'm learning every day, and just don't repeat it. I just don't repeat some of those things again. Oh, learn that, check that off. Okay, that was a life lesson. Don't want to go there again. Don't want to go there again. It's just like beating your head with a hammer over and over again. When are you going to learn that hurts? So, don't want to hide for 48 hours. Don't want to sit down again. If I've got momentum going in my business, I'm going to continue with that momentum. Yeah, I'm going to take time and I'm going to celebrate my success, but I'm going to move forward. This time I'm not going to sit here for 3 years and try to maintain. Oh, I've learned that doesn't work well. That's not who I want to be anymore. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to be triple diamond, presidential diamond. I want to be ambassador. I want to be at Surf and Turf. That's where I want to be. Oh my gosh, you mean I've been sitting on my ass for 4 years and I could have already been there? But then you suddenly wake up and you see that. You're like, oh, it's up to me. It's up to me. And I've had to learn that about myself. Oh, you mean, wow, we're going to 1 billion? Yeah. Mark said 5 billion. Yeah. Talk about blowing your perspective. 5 billion? Who wants that in their downline? Who wants that volume running through their downline? Yeah. So you don't need to go to Asia for that. Just go home and ask your next door neighbor. And the one down the street, and the one down the street. All right, Kaye, what do we got?
LB has a question.
LB, let's give it up for Laura Balzer.
So Pam, on our team, we've had a lot of discussion about, and I know you and I have talked about it, and this touches on personal development a little bit, but it's happening a little bit more. Team members are finding family and friends that are around them becoming very distant as they continue to grow their business and start to do their own thing and separate themselves from them. However, it causes stress for them. Share some of your wisdom on how you continue to propel forward and deal with the stress of friends and family just pushing on you a little bit.
Well, Big Daddy, y'all know Big Daddy, Dave, we've been together since 1974. That's a long time. I should get an award for that. Actually, he should get the award, but don't tell him I said that. Dave was, this is what Dave saw in the beginning. My wife's gone all the time. She's not making any money. Where's my dinner? How come I got to keep the kids? I'm working full time and she's gone she just eat up with it. She loves it. She's obsessed. She is obsessed. She's a different woman. She's not talking the same. She's talking like the up line, down line, side line. What about me? What about my line? I'm here. And it got to the boiling point. One morning at breakfast, he slammed his fist down on the table. He said, "You're never here. You don't care about me." And I stood there and I'm like, he said, "You're on the phone all the time." Now, normally when he said, "You're on the phone all the time," I know I'm not. Well, I'm right there on the phone. I would deny what he was saying. So finally, I'm standing there and I'm just staring at him and I see this small little boy. And I'm like, oh my God, I've neglected him. And he's just like having a temper tantrum, which he deserves to have. And I said, "You know what? You're right. You're right. I'm on my phone all the time. You're right. I'm gone all the time. Even when I'm here, I'm gone. You're absolutely right." I said, "Dave, for the first time in a long time, I feel alive. I feel alive. I feel like I'm getting Pam back. I feel like I'm that girl again, that girl that was excited and passionate about life. And I'd lost that being a stay-at-home mom. I was drowning in that. See, the most beautiful thing about being a stay-at-home mom is you're a stay-at-home mom, but there's a dirty little secret there, and it's called mom guilt, and it's called I've lost myself, and it's called I'm bored. I shouldn't be. What's wrong with me? This is perfect, and it's not. And we lose ourselves. And for the first time in a long time, I felt alive. Well, why wasn't he enough? Why weren't the kids enough? I don't know. I just was so happy because I had something on my own that I could build and pour into. And I had adult conversations again. And it was exciting, and I felt alive and vibrant. And he saw that, and he's like, "Why doesn't she feel that way for me?" And I said, "Dave, do you trust me? I know you love me, or we wouldn't be having these conversations, but do you trust me? Do you believe in me? You married me. You must believe in me." He goes, "Yes." I said, "Just trust me on this. Just let me soar. I promise it will be worth it. I promise I'll be more aware of you and the kids and what's going on. I get it now. I get it now." And that's why in my story, I like to say it. Dave's got to have some time. We've got to have some time. And so I started doing better at it. Am I still perfect? No. Sometimes I say, "See ya," and I'm gone for a week. And he gets it now. I've never seen this man smile so big. He held on to his job until 2011 because he was afraid he would lose himself. It's not fun being Pam Sowder's husband sometimes, y'all. He's holding my purse. He's a big guy. He doesn't like that always. But he started developing himself through this too. He's had to grow up a lot. My friend Kathy sent me a 3-page handwritten letter about what a bad mom I was. This is before email. or she probably would have typed it out. And she handed that to me, left. I read it. I said, none of this is true. I'm a great mom. I'm building something fabulous for my children. Later, when I saw her, I hugged her. I thanked her. I never responded. And she's still my friend today. I kept going. You just keep going. They don't understand. Yeah. They just don't understand. And they may never understand. And you may lose that friendship. You may lose that partner. At one point, I wondered if Dave could actually keep up. Could he expand his mind as big as I've expanded mine? And still, we work on it. Dave, we can buy that house. And then one day he came to me after Laura found the house we're in, and he said, we can look at this. I said, are you kidding? Have you been drinking? Are you kidding? I'm like, we can look at this? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, who are you? So he's expanding too. So be patient with your friends and your family, but don't go backwards. See, somebody's got to change that family. Somebody has got to change the dynamics and the legacy of the family. Do you know anybody that's ever done anything what is considered abnormal but later becomes normal was the first one in the family? Do you want to be that one? Yeah. We're not raised to be millionaires. I was raised, well, who do you think you are, and why do you think you can do that? And why don't you just go back to teaching? Why don't you do that? That's safer. It's more comfortable. It's normal. Even my dad, when I paid for that college, when are you going to use it? He doesn't say that anymore because he's come and stayed at the house. He likes his presence. He likes going on trips. They love the lifestyle. My friends come down and play. They're not in the business. They're still friends. Because you know what? I recognize that they are where they are, and that's where they are. It's not my job to change them. It's not my job. My job is to move me forward in the direction that I want to go. They can either come play with me or not. I'm not going to be ugly, and I'm not going to be rude to them. I accept where they are. I accept it. But I'm not staying there with you. I later told Kathy, a couple years later, Kathy, I couldn't stay back there with you. I had to move forward. I have friends that are now my age. They're in their 60s. They cannot retire. They cannot retire. They're going to be working till they're in their 70s. And they can't retire because there's not enough. Social Security, there's not enough retirement. It's worth whatever it takes as long as you are happy and you're having fun and you're stretching yourself. But don't expect them to come with you. It's okay if they don't. But don't stay back there with them. Don't join that party again. I had to move out of it. I had a bigger dream, bigger goals. Not that I'm better than them. They're okay. They actually are okay. They're fine where they're at. I just want to go find more people. I love hanging out with the Sassics. Dave and Debbie, they dream so big. Sarah and Josh, big dreams. When I met Sarah, she had little tiny dreams. Little tiny. She had to grow. I mean, Sarah's story is incredible. The Balsers lost everything. They had built $1 million business and lost everything. Do you not think that Laura's been through hell? But she's a survivor. Rachel, single mom now. But man, she is on fire. On fire. On fire. All of us have a unique story that needs to be told. And I hope that you'll just get out and share it. Thank you for having me here today. I so appreciate being here. Your whole day is going to be brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pam Sowder Podcast. Be sure to check out my website at pamsowder.com. There you can get inspired, listen to more podcasts, read and submit Ask Pam questions that could be featured on an upcoming podcast episode. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, much love and appreciation.